Hello, welcome back to another video of X++ programming language. In this video, we will talk about array. We already discussed some primary concept of array. In this video, we will be specific about X++ programming language. And this array is nothing but a data type. And we can specifically say this is the composite data type. Other than container, class as a data type, delegates as a data type, table as a data type, array also a composite data type. We already know from our previous video that an array is a variable that contains a list of items that have the same data type, right? And the element of an array are accessed by using the integer index. You use a separate statement to initialize each element in an array. So let me show how you can write the code for array. So in this section you can see that we have a class array example, and inside this main method we will write our code. Here you can initialize the array declaration. You can declare here a dynamic array declaration like this way. So if we'll declare this way, it means the size we are not mentioning inside this particular array. So here integer means the data type, the data this particular array will be stored, all the type should be integer, and this is the name of the array. And after that you have to specify the square bracket over here. And if you want to create a fixed size array, then you can specify the number over here. For example, here you can specify 10. That means this particular array will be able to store 10 elements inside it, right? So this way you can use fixed size, and if you will not specify, it will be a dynamic integer array. Now if you want to initialize the values inside it for each and every index, so let me show that as well. Now remember one point here, we already discussed about the 0 indexed array or 1 indexed array, right? So in case of X++ programming language, array index begins at 1. That means the first item in the array referenced as a 1, and the second item is referenced as 2, and so on. So that's why you have to remember that X++ programming language is 1 indexed programming language. It means the index starts from 1. But still, if we will specify the 0 index in case of X++ programming language, we will also explore, and I'll also show you the result. So it will not give any kind of error, but this is not the way you should write the code. You should always follow the actual process which is mentioned by the X++ programming documentation. So you have to remember that array begins at index number 1. So now let's start writing code. So now let's start writing code from 0th index, and I'll show you the result, what will happen in the end. Now here you can see that I have specified my integer array, and you have to specify the integer over here within the bracket, square bracket, and you have to specify the value that I want to store. So likewise, if you want to store in first index, then you have to give the 1 over here first, and then you have to give the value for that particular index. So likewise, this way you can actually initialize the value. Okay, now if you want to show the value to the front end, so what is the process? We can use this particular statement, info statement, and here you have to specify the index number for which I want to show the result in the front end. So this way, if you want to show all the values inside the index, then you have to change the index number one by one. So let me do that as well. So now in this index, you have to change the index number like this way. Okay, so we have all total, we have 0 to 4 index, and we have specified 0 to 4 index. And then now if you want to save it and if you will run it, you will be able to see the result. So here in this case we have a problem in our code, because in case of X++ programming language there is no 0th index. In other programming language you may seen that the index start from 0, But in case of X++ programming language, the index start from 1, or the array index begins at 1. The first item in the array is referenced as 0, 1. So this one is not a valid statement in X++ programming language, as well as this one is not the valid statement. And if you run the code, you will not get any kind of error. Instead of getting the value 12, you will get 0 there, but it will not reflect any kind of issue. Okay, but this, you have to remember this point, that in case of X++ programming language, the array index start from 1 and onwards, and if you specify 0th index, then it will get its value as 0, not the value you are expecting. Okay, so this point I wanted to mention, and that's why the X++ programming language is one indexed programming language. That means the index start from 1. Okay, now let me save the code and let me show you the result in the front end. So here you can see the result. So in the first index it is showing 0, right? And after that it is showing the correct ones. So I have already explained why it is giving the 0. Okay, I have just shown you that how you can declare a dynamic integer array, and how you can initialize, and how you can access those array. So let me write a comment for this one, also for this one, because this one is the not valid statement, right? Thanks for watching this video. In the next video we will talk about how you can access a loop to access all this array. You can try that as an assignment, that how can access all these elements using a loop. So thanks for watching this one.